Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I hope it has become a new year almost in all parts of the world, and I would like to send my wishes to everyone, whoever celebrates the new year and is nicely connected to it. I thought that as it is the new year, then it would be nice to take up the beautiful question of newness. What is new? How can we define this word new? Because we kind of use the word every day in our life. I had a new experience, I had a new transformation, I have heard a new song, I saw a new movie, I saw a new TV series. So new is used a lot in our lives, and specifically in this kind of context of the new year, that it's a new year, and we wish everyone that I wish you that the new year brings new prosperity and happiness and all the kind of good stuff. Now, with new, have we ever wondered what do we actually want to say? What is the message we want to convey when we use the word new? What is the meaning of the word new that we carry inside of us? Okay? So, does the new or is the new born from what was already there? Is the new born from the old, or is the new free of the old? This can be the two possibilities that we can mean when we use the word new. I would maybe explain them a little bit more so that it becomes more clear. That is new dependent on what was before it. So, is the new an effect of an old cause? Is the new part of the chain of causality? Old to new, old to new. This is one way of saying that new. Something is new. Is the new merely a new form? The old has taken a new form. The old has transformed itself in a newer pattern, and that thing we call something new. This is one thing that we can call what is new. And another thing, what can be new, is something totally fresh. Something which is not born because of what was before it. Something which is not dependent on what was existing before it. So that new is disconnected from the old, from what was. And this would be what we can say maybe something totally new, like free of the past, something totally new. What is this new and what is the new that is connected to the past? And which one do we use when we use the word new? I think it would not be a wrong statement to assume that most of us, when we use the word new, we mean the new which is dependent on what was before it, which is in the chain of causality, the new which is part of time. So that new is what usually people mean when they use the word new. That essentially, fundamentally, it's the same thing, but it has taken a newer form. So we call the new year, for example, 2026, but we do the exactly same thing in the year. We would celebrate the same festivals on the same dates. We would mostly repeat most of our things in the same way as we did in the last year. So even though we call it a new year, we actually don't live it as a new year. We still live it as the same old year, as it has always been. Now, another question that can sprout from here is that why we do this? Like, why we call something which is old, maybe thousands of years old, and we call this thing new. During the whole year, we have so many traditions which are hundreds or thousands of years old, and we keep doing the same things every year after year after year. Even the planets are doing the same thing year after year after year. The sun is doing the same thing. So, what is the newness there? What is the new that we are so happy about? Even though everything that we will do, everything that we usually do, the way we live our lives, the patterns of life, they stay the same. For most people, I'm not saying that it's like a strong line, but mostly it stays the same. We stay the same kind of person as we were a year before. Maybe some kind of minor changes of here and there. Maybe for some people their positions change. Maybe for some people their families change. But again, it's a very outer change. The central movement of how we live our life during the year still remains quite similar. So, even though humans like to live in the same way, even though humans resist to live in different ways, we like to have our lives in pattern. We've discussed it quite a lot on the channel. There are some monthly patterns, some quarterly patterns, and some annual patterns. So even though there is this living with patterns, why do we call all of this as new? Even though this new is totally drenched in the old, in the past. The new is totally submerged, dripped into the past, into the old. And it just receives a new label that it's new. Even though it's just repeating the counting again from 1 to 12. And just because I start to count again from 1 to 12, it doesn't mean I'm doing something new. The count is still the same. Yet we still call it new for some reason. Maybe it gives us a kind of satisfaction inside of us, because it's very scary to accept that there is nothing new in my life. My life is just the same as usual all the time. It can be the old and the new, as boring as usual. Maybe it's very scary for me to accept that my life is totally repetitive, totally cyclic. And that makes me want to put these labels of newness on certain things wherever I can. And I call it, it's something new. I wonder. So then comes to the point, if there is actually something new, and do we actually care or mean the kind of new which is free of the old, which is free of the past, something that has never existed before, something totally fresh, totally new. Now that would also be a kind of new. In this kind of new, there wouldn't be a past to talk about. In this kind of new, there wouldn't be a recognition, because there is no reference point in comparison to which we must recognize this pattern. Because this pattern is totally new, totally fresh, without any past. And because it's free of the past, it's free of time. If there is something that new, which is so fresh that it is free of all kind of oldness, then it is also free of time, and it is also free of recognition. And perhaps if this kind of new ever comes in front of us, we would never know that we have been in contact with something so new. Because this newness is so new that by the time you would be able to detect it, it would be new again. And you again come to the same point of having no recognition about it. And that's why in this part of the video, when I'm describing the second part of the new, you might be feeling super confused. What is he talking about? And that is because this other new, which is free of the past, is not something that the mind can really grasp. It's not something that the mind can really comprehend. And the mind likes to comprehend, the mind likes to grasp stuff, because in that grasping it feels a sense of security, a sense of safety, that it understands what's going on, instead of accepting that it doesn't understand what's going on, which is a very scary feeling for the mind. So we love to put the labels of new on old traditions. Most things in our life are old, going on just the way they go, drinking the same kind of coffee, reading the same kind of book, listening to the same kind of songs. And we call it, it's my favorite, it's my likeness, it's my choice. And this tells us something about the choice as well, that the choice itself is old. It doesn't have this element of freshness. The choice doesn't have element of freshness. So we live in this kind of patterns where we have most of our things in total loops, and those total loops are always old. But we have just found ways to label those loops as new loops. And with that, we fool ourselves in believing that we have come in contact with something new. We fool ourselves in believing that we have something new in our lives. We have some freshness in our lives, even though the only thing we have is the same morning walk, the same evening walk that we've been doing for years. Same kind of breakfast, same kind of most things. So, in doing all this, if one realizes it, one could become immensely sad, realizing that there is nothing new in life and life is just in loops, full of old stuff. In a sense, it's also nice to realize it and feel that sadness for some moment. But it's not wise to stop there. Realize this sadness that there is nothing new in life usually. And after you've really investigated it, after you've really seen it, the loops of your life, the oldness of your life, then begin the investigation if there is something new. A person who already believes that there is newness in their life, there are new things in their lives, will never ask the question, what is new? How to find the new? Is there something new? So, only a person who has seen this fakeness of newness that humanity has created, only that person would put all this aside. Only that person wouldn't fall for the trap of this new year, this new birthday, this new anniversary, whatever. And this person would eventually ask, is there something new? What is new? And that newness, if it exists, will eventually be investigated. Now, if you're expecting me to say what happens when you investigate it, then that's again entertainment for you. Juicy stuff. So don't expect from someone else to explain what is that newness, what is that new. Observe the oldness of your life completely. Stop fooling yourself that you have something new. Let that dissatisfaction build in. That very dissatisfaction will become the ground from which you will ask, is there something new? And as you ask it, then you investigate it. And then perhaps there might be something new. But again, remember, you can't recognize it. You can't detect it the way you do with usual recognitions of life. Like, you cannot recognize this newness as an experience. You cannot recognize this newness as a new year, new birthday, or whatever, because it's free from the past, as we said. So, as you will investigate it, maybe you will find a way. But what really matters is not to live in a dream. A dream not in the sense that we watch in the night A dream in the sense that when something is so clear in front of you and yet you fail to see it. When life is showing you every day that it's a loop and yet you fail to see it. If you see it, if you start to see it, you don't need many months, you don't need many years to realize it. It could happen in a day, it could happen in a week, where you completely and clearly see that it's all just repeating based on what has been before. The pattern gets modified and yet remains existentially, essentially the same. And then you ask, what is new? I hope you have celebrated nicely this time and you've made some promises to yourself. I hope you keep those promises. I hope you would ask yourself eventually if there is something new. And we will meet next time. Those who have heard or who have seen the video, thanks a lot for being with us. Thank you.